That ongoing conflict in Iran has closed airspace, it's closed airports all throughout the Gulf region, which means thousands of people on vacation there, now stranded, including on cruise ships, either because they can't get through the Strait of Hormuz or because their passengers have nowhere to go once they get off the ship. So right now we're joined by Craig Savoye from the cruise ship Celestial Journey in the port of Doha, Qatar, since Saturday. Here it is nearly a week later. Craig, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it. How you doing?
Good. We're hanging in there, Rob.
Yeah, you've got the what's I know you're kind of set up on the deck of the ship there. What is that? The port behind you?
Yeah, that's Doha. Let me just show you for a second. Actually, it looks a little bit like Las Vegas, believe it or not. You can hardly tell we're in a war zone, but that's Doha.
Yeah. Now we should point out you and your wife are from Kentucky, I believe. Your son lives in the Twin Cities, and it was through
Correct.
him that made us aware of, hey, my parents are in this situation. You arrived in Qatar last Saturday, or got on the ship last Saturday, and then never left port. Tell us about what happened.
Yeah, well, we arrived at 7 a.m. The day the attack began. We figured out later that we were over Bahrain airspace about 4 hours before the retaliatory missiles began raining down on Manama, the capital, and the U.S. airbase there. So the flight was 12 hours, so a 4-hour window, we just barely made it in. And then we went on a tour of Doha at 7 a.m. till noon, and we didn't know the attack had begun. We didn't have any internet connection at that point, and we were actually in a souk, an Arab market, S-O-U-K, and looking at falcons. There are 90% of Qatari families own a falcon. We were looking at a row of about a dozen falcons sitting perched on there, almost like where you tie up a horse. We're looking at a $40,000 falcon while the Ayatollah is being bombed about 200 miles away. We got to the dock and to check in about noon, and the air raid sirens went off, and it was like 2 or 3 times the volume of, say, a tornado alarm in the Midwest. And then everyone's phone around us started to beep emergency messages. And pretty soon after that, we're hearing the explosions in the sky from incoming missiles.
And then basically what was supposed to be a week-long cruise, your ship then never even attempted to leave port?
Yeah, the captain came on and, of course, told us we'd be delayed a day. And then 2 days later, he came on, and you could almost hear the disappointment in his voice. He said, we're not going anywhere. We're staying here for a full week. And so we've been stuck on board. Of course, we're on a cruise ship, so the food's okay and all that. But we do get a barrage of missiles, average about 1 a day, probably 6 or 7. And the Patriot missiles seem to intercept them. But, of course, it's still disconcerting to hear those enormous it sounds like sonic booms when they go off.
But you are actually witnessing then drones and missiles fly overhead. Yeah,
there's a British couple that actually saw a Patriot go up and intercept. But for the most part, you just hear the sound. For a while, it was fairly cloudy, but it's a bit surreal because one time we were standing by the rail hearing the booms, and a lot of them were directed at the U.S. Air Base about 5 miles west. And behind us, music is blaring, and the seniors are doing the Macarena on the pool deck while the war is going on. So it's a strange situation.
Yeah, an odd juxtaposition there. Now, you're supposed to, by the original itinerary, depart the boat tomorrow, Saturday, but you can't get a flight. Everything's closed. I mean, what's your situation now? What are you going to do?
Yeah, the airport's been closed for 7 days since the initial bombings, and everybody's scrambling. The boat's been good. They're letting us stay on some extra days. Some people are bailing to hotels. We booked a flight for Monday on Qatar Airways out of Doha, but I feel like it's about a 1 in 4 chance we'll make it off. So our plan, and we may hook up with another American couple, is if that flight's canceled, it could be weeks before Doha airport opens. So we'll try to make it overland to Riyadh. Little concerned about crossing the frontier. We think it's a bit clogged there, but you can get a visa ahead of time. So it'd just be hiring a private vehicle and getting through. And there does seem to be some flights out of Riyadh. So we'll probably do that as a backup plan.
Has there been any communication with, say, a U.S. embassy or anything like that to see if they can help?
Yeah, I'm a patriot, so I hate to be too critical, but we're a little disappointed in Uncle Sam's response. We filled out forms and so forth, and they did call us, but they just took our name. And I tried to ask about charter flights, and the person taking the information went back and sounded like they were reading from a script. So I think they were told not to vary from that. But it's a little disconcerting to have a bureaucrat asking you to spell your middle name properly when the bombs are falling. So we know that there's been some flights out of Oman and the UAE, which is right next door, but we really haven't had any communication. And we know there are some relief flights going out of Doha. The airport's officially closed, but they're taking out a few people at a time that have been here maybe a week or so, but they're calling them. We'll call you, don't call us. And then getting them on planes and getting them out. So if U.S. government could lease a plane somehow, we know we could get out of this airport.
Do you any guess as to how many other Americans are on that ship with you in the same situation?
Yes, it started with 1,000 on the ship, holds 1,200, and then again, don't want to disparage our government. There were 320 Kazakhstanis on board, and their government bused them to Jeddah, which is on the western coast of the Arabian Peninsula, and then flew them out on a military plane. They went out, I think, in relatively small vehicles. The last person left at 3 in the morning last night, and then maybe they collected them at a bus somewhere. But that was like a 12-hour bus ride. So they went out, and then everybody else, like some British folks we know, their travel agent has got them transportation on Tuesday. They're going to try to make it to Riyadh and get out that way as well.
Mm-hmm. So best case scenario, maybe you get that plane out on Monday that you'd booked. Maybe worst case at this point, you might be a while.
Best case scenario would be. Yeah, best case scenario would be airport opens suddenly, and we're out of here. But after that, we want to go, so we'll go to Riyadh. We'll take a camel if we have to get there, but we want to go to Riyadh.
How far of a trip is that?
Yeah, they say 6.5 hours. So it's there's only one border crossing into Saudi, and once you're across that, it's just desert, flat. Away you go.
Well, I tell you what, this isn't the vacation you had planned, but it is memorable nonetheless for different reasons here. You guys holding up okay?
That's for sure. We are, and we have concerns for other people on board, like the workers. They're all wonderful people, not necessarily the greatest pay and stuff on board. Well, they got to stay, no matter what we do. They're probably not getting off. So we feel fortunate that we have the resources to find a way to get home.
Wow. All right. Craig Savoye, along with your wife, Margie, on the celestial journey in Doha, Qatar. I wish you the best trying to figure this out. If it comes to taking it over the road, safe journey there. Nope, it appears he froze up a little bit just in time. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. All right.